Car Cost Canada provides the dealer cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. The link is in the description below. Is this a GTI alternative? Well, it isn't the car a lot of North Americans had hoped for. We had hoped we might get the i30N that's sold in Europe. That's the hot hatchback that competes directly with the Golf R and the GTI. No, in North America, we get Veloster N. It's won all kinds of awards. It's a great car, but it isn't in the same form function as this hatchback. So what we get in North America is N-Line, and you're going to start to see this throughout the Hyundai family. That's the letter they've chosen in the alphabet to distinguish their performance-oriented cars. We've seen it with Mercedes-Benz, with AMG, BMW with M, and of course S from Audi. So it's N, which stands for Nürburgring, which apparently they say all their cars are tuned now that have this N-Line. That's going to be the letter going forward for Hyundai. So what does the N-Line get you? Well, it certainly looks better than the traditional Elantra hatchback or Elantra hatchback north of the border here. You get a unique front bumper, the deeper chin spoiler, driving lights, 18-inch alloy wheels. You get black caps on the mirrors. You get a different rear bumper with a lower diffuser and dual exhaust tips. Also, you get standard LED headlamps and standard LED tail lamps. There's some black piano finish here and there, so they certainly have tried to differentiate it from the regular car. We'll get into the drive and the price in a moment. One thing to keep in mind, this car is less expensive than a GTI. So at the end, when I tell you the price, you have to decide, is it worth it to buy the GTI? Would you be happy with this, and is it an alternative for your money? Let's get in, go for a drive. I'll tell you what's powering the GT N-Line. Okay, what's under the hood of this GT? Turbocharged 4-cylinder, direct injection, runs on regular gas, that's important. And it's the same engine they use in Veloster Turbo, 201 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. So as I mentioned in the description, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about GTI because it too is a hot hatch, but it has 228 horsepower. That's a change they made recently. They pumped the horsepower up to 228. But the biggest difference between GTI and this car, well, there's a few of them, and one of them is a limited slip differential for the front wheels. And what that does is it helps get the power down, especially in wetter weather and cooler weather. And that is where I'm noticing the biggest difference with this car. I think the power for this car is fine. It does a great job. It's a lively engine. The power is good. Over higher RPMs, it maybe gets a little bit thrashy, but it's a willing partner to have some fun, and you have to hand it to Hyundai. They've given us a car that is capable. It comes with either a 6-speed manual transmission or a 7-speed dual clutch. And the dual clutch is pretty quick. Let me just do down. I'll go all the way down to 0. Okay, there's 0. Acceleration. And you can hear the wheels chirping a little bit. Yeah, getting the power down, I think, is the one weakness of this performance model. Also, one of the reasons is it comes with all-season tires, which is maybe not the best. If you were going to buy this car, it might be worthwhile getting performance tires. You can drive it in D, let the car do the shifting. You can slap it over to the side and drive it in manual mode. That's certainly the most fun. And there's also a drive mode here, and that changes it from normal, everyday commuting, eco, maybe you're doing a highway run, you want to get the best fuel economy, or sport. So I'm driving it most of the time in drive sport or drive sport manual, which is what I have it in now. And I have to say the dual clutch is pretty quick. The one area I find it's a little sloppy is going from reverse to drive. Sometimes it takes a while to hook up, but a lot of dual clutches are like that. Yeah, the shifts are quick. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, the biggest issue with this car is getting the power down to the road. So that's all good. Now, what did they change with this car over the regular Elantra or Elantra, depending on where you are? Well, this car gets a unique independent rear suspension. You get stiffer engine and transmission mounts, and you also get those larger 18-inch wheels. The steering ratio is quicker, and you also get larger brakes. Now, the drive mode button I showed you doesn't really change the suspension. It just changes the throttle and the steering weight and also the shifts of the transmission. Okay, I'm going to pull over now and talk about this inside, which I think is a bit of a high point. All right, The inside of this car, I think, is pretty nice. It has some high points for sure, and maybe a few things that they could work on. First of all, I think it's nicely trimmed. It's got leather seats, and it has the piping on it, the red accents. Those are mirrored in the surrounds of the vents, so you see a little bit of a theme here with the red and the black. Now, this car comes with heated seats. If you get the ultimate version, the one I'm in here now, it ups the ante and gives you perforated and cooled seats and also a heated steering wheel. It's very nicely trimmed on the seats. You get leather seats as standard equipment, plus they're heated. If you want the GTI, you have to go to the top model in order to get leather in that. Also, you get the nice red piping and sort of this rubberized look. It kind of looks like carbon, but it's not. It's just sort of this rubberized, and it actually is well done. Also, I think that Hyundai and Kia do a great job of the switchgear they use in their cars. Everything just fits perfectly. You get dual automatic climate control with this car. You get the 8-inch head unit with Android and Apple. If you get the ultimate version, the one I'm in here now, you get onboard navigation. And you also get this big panoramic roof. So in Canada, you get the manual transmission, you get the dual clutch, and you get the dual clutch ultimate. So really that's the only trim difference, is this ultimate package, which isn't available on the manual transmission. And for your money, you get the power seats, you get the ventilated seats, so that means heated and cooled. You get the upgraded stereo system with the onboard navigation. Is that really worth it? And you get a 4-inch TFT screen in the center of the instrument cluster and an auto-dimming rear view mirror. Now, is all of that really that important to you? It's just a few $1,000s more. We'll get into the price in just a moment. So what's the advantage of a car like this? It's a pretty good size. You know what? It's very comfortable for the front seat passengers. The legroom in the back isn't bad at all. You can slide in behind where I'm sitting now, and you certainly have some legroom. The headroom isn't as good as the GTI, but it's not bad. I have a long torso, so I'm disproportionately tall in the back seat. The cargo area around the back is quite deep and functional, and underneath the floor, you also get a spare tire. But I think the overall selling feature for this car is what Hyundai has done so well for so many years, and that's adding a lot of value for your dollar. So you're getting a very nicely equipped car in here with just one trim package really on the automatic cars to get a few more features that you might be able to easily live without. The only negative I can see is there's some hard plastic still here and there, but it's much better than Veloster Turbo and Veloster N. In Veloster, the tops of the dash and the tops of the door are still covered in hard plastic. So if you compare it to that performance model of Hyundai, this one definitely has nicer equipment on the inside and nicer materials. I don't think it's at the same level as GTI for materials, but it's pretty close. Now, one area is refinement. I don't think this car feels as refined on the road. The suspension is maybe a little bit crashy over uneven pavement, and it's not as quiet as the GTI. That car just has a more sort of polished, and if you've watched any of my reviews of Volkswagen Golf cars lately, basically the whole line, I always call it Audi Light, and you certainly get that feeling in the Volkswagen products. In this car, the way they've gone about the sportiness is just basically making everything stiffer, and a lot of people will appreciate that. Some might not. It's something you really have to try in order to see it if you like it. But you know what? For what you pay for this car, yeah, it might not have the same horsepower and the same mechanical standard features as the GTI, but it is a lot of smiles per mile, I'll say that. And would I be happy driving this every day to work? Oh yeah, I could have some fun with this, no problem at all. So this car in Canada with the manual transmission starts at $27,000, $1,700 more to get the dual clutch transmission. The one you're looking at here, the ultimate package with the extra features, is $100 less than a base model GTI, $30,700, $30,800 to get into a GTI. But if you want to equip a GTI to the same level as this when it comes to leather, the big sunroof, the LED headlamps, that's $36,000. It's roughly around $36,000, which is just over $5,000 more than the car that you see here. Is it worth your money to go for the GTI Autobahn and get it equipped similarly to this? It all comes down to your budget. This isn't, I don't believe, at the same level as the GTI. This car has less power, it doesn't have a limited slip differential, runs on all-season tires, and has a bit more of a crashy suspension than the GTI. You need to drive them both to see if that extra money is worth it to you. There's no shame if you can't afford those higher-end GTI models. This car certainly is a lot of fun. There's a lot of smiles per mile in this car. It does it at a different price point and a different attitude. Let's see what's next for N-Line. Car Cost Canada provides the dealer cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. The link is in the description below.